Good morning. It is June the 5th, 2000. I start to say 26, 2025. And today, yes, is my 54th wedding anniversary. And let me tell you that 54 years ago today, it was Saturday. It was on a Saturday. And my husband, I think I had told this in a video, one of my first videos, that we had $8 when we got married. So needless to say, we could not take a day off work. Of course, I was just starting a new job Monday after I got married on Saturday. But he was working construction. And he worked a half a day, and we got married at 5 p.m. in the afternoon. And my dad actually was the one who married us. And we just got married in my parents' house, which is right next door to my little house. And I told my daughter this morning in front of my husband, I said, I was so excited, but I was just hoping he would show up for the wedding. He wasn't. Well, who knows? But he did. So my dad and my mom, my best friend, stood up for me, and his brother stood up for him. And of course, we didn't go anywhere because we didn't have any money. And then on Monday, I started a new job as a secretary for the Bureau for Social Services, which I was a secretary. And I did that. I was a secretary for many years down through the years. And then later, I went back and got my teaching degree. But anyway, it's a nice day here, except it is getting very humid. Now, the last 2 or 3 days, let's see, this is Thursday, almost every day this week, it has been very humid. And that's what I just hate during the summertime in this area. Now, a friend that is originally from Florida is now in Maine just visiting, just on a little trip. And she texted me this morning, and she said it was like 65 degrees and no humidity. So I would love that, no humidity. But in the wintertime, I think Maine is really bad with the snow. So I don't want that, do you? But we get some snow here, but not a whole lot. So I guess we'll just have to live with what we got. But anyway, the county fair is going full blast. I want you to know, usually at our fair, you can get a pass to get in at the front gate. And then you can get another pass that you can park close to the fair. So my girl had a pass to get in and a pass to park. We call it in the Grove. They call it parking in the Grove. And it's just real close, and it wouldn't be scary for just like a person by themselves to get out and walk. She called me last night after she was still just had parked her car and said, I don't have any money. And I thought, well, that was a good time to be telling me, because I was stretched out on the couch. And if you think I was going to get up and drive 10 miles and fight that traffic that they're lined up both directions to get into that fairgrounds, I said, well, let me call Gary, our friend. He'll be there. I'll have him give you some money. So I called his wife. Well, he wasn't there. But they called their son, who was on his way to the fair, and we did get the child some money, so she didn't starve. I'm telling you, it takes a village to raise these kids, and it's good to have people you can depend on, or I would have had to got out and driven up here, I'm going to make it as easy on her as I can. But she had a good time, and she was so tired last night. I said, all I can tell you is you know what to do. If you're that tired, you need to stay home and rest. But she's not going to do that. Well, this morning she didn't have to work, so she was really glad about that. So we have just been to a retirement for my best friend's sister, who is the 4-H agent, and she's a young cat. Let's see, I guess she's in her 50s. Today she's retiring from being the 4-H person. And you wouldn't believe the people that showed up. We were tickled because you never know, who's going to show up to wish you off a goodbye. So that's 2 retirement things I have been to. I went to that one Sunday and went to that one today. And today is her last day. And she's just so excited. People just excited. And she can do anything. So I don't know what she plans on doing in her retirement, but I wish her well. But let me tell you about the food they had. They had little ham sandwiches on a bun, pimento cheese on a bun, potato chips with ranch dressing, a vegetable tray, and a fruit tray. And then lemonade, or I think that other one was a tea. And then they had the cutest cupcakes. They had 3 different kinds of cupcakes, and they were just decorated so pretty. And I mean, that place was full. People was coming in and eating and staying a little while. And so we stayed about an hour and we left. But it was just so nice. And then I also, again, for the second time this week, have seen people that I have worked with in the school system, and then just people that I know that, I don't see, because I have my little routine of where I go, and they have theirs, and sometimes you don't hardly ever see those people. So it was good to see a lot of people I hadn't seen for a long time. So now my girl has gone to another town about 35 miles away because she needs a little white top to go with a skirt she has that she doesn't have a white top to wear it with. Now, here's the scoop. The only stores we have in this town that you can shop is a Dollar General store. And that's about it. Well, there's one more little clothing store, but she went there yesterday and they didn't have a white top. And I said, well, are you going to ask one of your friends to ride up there with you? And she said, no, I'd just soon go myself. And I know that if you want to shop and really look for yourself, sometimes it's better just go by yourself, and then you don't feel like you're putting anybody else out. So she's gone to look for a white top, and then she'll come home and go to the fair tonight. Now, it's clouding up, so they're giving rain tomorrow, Friday, and Saturday, so we'll see. If it rains, it's going to really put a damper on the old fair, which it normally rains, and it's muddy and just a mess. But anyway, that's the scoop for today. Another thing, and I thought of this whenever, I've told you about that little group of friends that I have. Well, this morning, one of my good friends, Sandra, had texted one of our friends, and her husband, they flew him out. I think it was last night, I'm not sure. He is he's about 76, I guess. And he's had a lot of health problems down through the years. But he had an aneurysm in his stomach that the doctors could not operate on, if I understood this correctly. And it must maybe burst. I'm not positive about any details, but it's very, very serious. So I'm asking you to pray for him. His name's Harry. And they have flown him to the University of Kentucky Hospital. And we haven't heard anything today, so I guess no news is good news. But, we're just to that point in life where, well, anytime you could be here today and gone tomorrow. But keep him in your prayers. Good guy. And they've been married longer than me. They've probably been married 57 years. So that's a long time. And I know she's very upset and worried about it. So I want to ask y'all to pray for him and her. And they've got 2 kids. One of them lives maybe in Alabama and one of them in Indiana. So, they don't live around here. All right, I was watching Rob the Maritimer this morning, and he was interviewing Small Retired Life. I can't think what her name's. I don't know what her name was. But anyway, I was thinking about how different that our YouTube channels are. To me, my channel is more like Grandma Lois and Cynthia on Senior Insights, and Tracy, but she's a young chick, and then Chit Chat Granny Pat. Because we all just kind of sit and talk, just like we're sitting here in the living room talking to you. But some people's is a lot more formal, and their backgrounds are a lot different. And like Tracy, she puts a lot of fancy stuff in hers that I don't know how to do, and I ain't gonna learn it now. I'm too old. I'm not too old, but I don't want to learn it. I like to do things fast. So this girl was, more serious, and I think she had a viral video like maybe after 5, or she got monetized, or very, very quickly. And they were talking about the longevity of YouTube, and I think that she kind of thinks that eventually that people will get tired of watching videos. But it seems like that there's a lot of new people starting, so you know maybe it'll last till we die. Who knows? We'll just go ahead and do it anyway. But she said she liked to watch cooking shows and like learning how to do something. And if you'll notice, there's such a variety on YouTube. You can find about anything you'd want to watch. And I thought, now see, that's not something I'm interested in. I don't want to watch you crochet. But see, that's just me. I don't want to. I do watch a little bit of cooking, but not a whole lot. Because I don't want to cook. Who wants to cook? I am already sitting here thinking, what am I going to fix my husband for lunch? Did I tell you the other day, I went to the grocery and they had these big pork roasts. I mean, big. And they were on sale. So I got one and cut it in half and froze half of it, cooked half of it. I know I told you that. Do you know, I was trying to think when I cooked that. Last Friday, I have eaten that Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. I don't think I ate it yesterday. I have eaten just like a half of a sandwich of that every day for lunch because that's just what I do. But guess what? The guy that I've been married to for 54 years, he ain't gonna eat it 5 days in a row. So the other day I said, well, what would you like? Well, he didn't know, but he finally agreed on a can of chicken noodle soup, and I could handle that. I went in there and whipped that can open and put it in the microwave, heated that up. He ate every bite of it. Now, yesterday, no, wait a minute, I didn't eat it yesterday. Yesterday, I went by 5 Star. They have meatloaf on Wednesdays. Now, Grandma Lois says she makes the best meatloaf ever was, but I ain't gonna make no meatloaf. Too much messing and gomming. I don't want to do that. I stopped there and got us a meatloaf sandwich on white bread. You can get it on a bun or you can get it on white bread. And I think it's really good. I can't taste or smell, but as far as I can tell, it's good. So I didn't even ask him, but I took him one. And he snarled his nose. But whenever I do something like that, I'll say, it be good, and you like it. He ate every bite of it. Why do men want to do you like that? Now, Grandma Lois says that James thanks her for the food she fixes, but now she cooks. I don't want to cook. And I'm thinking right now, I've still got some of that pork roast left. I'm thinking seriously about going home and putting that in my little grinding thing and grind it up real fine because, he's got false teeth, but he don't wear them. So he has no teeth up here, and then he's got teeth down here, but they're not in good shape. So he wants something soft, kind of. I'm thinking about grinding that meat up and putting a little mayonnaise in it and fix him a sandwich, and I might can trick him into thinking it's something brand new that he's not had before. I might. I'm not sure about how I'm going to handle that just yet because he won't give you any suggestions, and you know he's not going to brag on anything. So we'll just have to see how it goes. I'm not going to worry about it. Hey, I ate at the retirement thing, so that'll do me till this afternoon, till I want to get something else. Cynthia on Senior Insights was talking about would anybody be interested in doing a book club. And, you know, I had belonged to one here in my county back in the fall, I guess. Back maybe last summer. But see, when college basketball starts, I can't make any commitments because I have to be there to help watch those games because see, I do a little coaching from my couch. I mean, I'm addicted. I'm pretty much addicted. Basketball is my very favorite sport. So I quit going. Plus, this last year with my girl, you know, it's her senior year. It has been so busy. I mean, there has been something going on, it seems like all the time. So I told you the other day that I think I'm going to get back into the book club. So I went by the library and got the book, and it's called, I meant to bring it in here, Hello Beautiful. I don't even know who it's by. But I finally forced myself to get off YouTube long enough to start reading that book because it's going to be time for the book club here before you know it. And here I'm going to be watching YouTube and not reading the book and won't be able to discuss it. And that's not going to be any fun. And it's a good book. I'm on about chapter 3 or 4. But so far, so good. It's interesting. So if I can get off of YouTube for a while every day, I'm going to start reading that book and get it read. And the one thing I like about the book club is they give you a bookmark that has all the books that are going to be read throughout the year. Like for January, and it'll have a little picture of the book and the name of it. But there's one bad thing. I can't find my bookmark. I don't know what I've done with it. I've looked this morning. I looked everywhere because I wanted to show it to you. Who knows? And I looked at some of the books that I had read off and on, and you wouldn't believe the things I use for a bookmark. I've got all kinds of little papers and cards and everything stuck in there. But I'm going to try to go to the book club. But I have been watching a lot of the NBA games because a lot of those guys I recognize from college teams. And that Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, if you know who he is an MVP, and he was at Kentucky at one time. A lot of those guys played at Kentucky, so I like to stay in contact with them, and I'm sure they're glad I'm watching. But and they're pretty good games to watch. So I think there's one on tonight. Oh, but my friend Tracy from Adventures in the Wild. Here I'm acting like Grandma Lois. Adventures in the Wild something. I'll put it down in the comments. She's having a live tonight, and I've got to do it. Now, she is starting at 5 o'clock Pacific time. And if I looked at that correctly, I think that's 7 o'clock my time, which is Central. So if you all are on Eastern time, it's going to be 8 o'clock. And some of you are going to be in the bed, but I hope to get on that. There was a What's Up Boomer. He had a live the other night, and it's fun. I don't think I'm going to do one because I don't know how and I don't want to, and I'm afraid nobody will show up. But you can type in just like on the comments that you're there, or you can make a comment. And he called me out like a couple of times because I made a comment. And Tracy was on there, and just some people I knew. So that felt good. And then old Mike, or old me living better, He had a live. Now, I didn't know when it was, so I just watched the tape of it, and it was really good. If anybody wants to go back and watch that, he is so interesting. And he shouts out Grandma Lois. I think they're in cahoots. She's 91 and he's maybe 81. I don't know. But he's only been on YouTube for a year, and he's got a zillion followers. But I can see why, because he's fun to watch. Now let me see if there was anything else I was going to tell you. Remember to pray for my friend Harry and his wife Sandra. And I will update you the next time I make a video. But right now, I'm getting sleepy because last night again, I was up to about 11 o'clock. And up at the crack of dawn this morning, my husband was in there playing Facebook video or those little short reels that Buzz saw and all this stuff. So I've been up for quite a while, and I think I'm going to need a nap. But I hope you have a great day. Today is Thursday, and before you know it, the fair is going to be over, and I don't care. My friend texted me the other morning. She said, I'm working at the floral hall. Why don't you come over? And I said, no, thanks. And they have a lot of pretty things in the floral hall, you know, canned goods and different things. And her grandkids had something in it. I ain't going to the fair. I have been burned out at the fair many, many moons ago. And I don't want to walk. I don't want to do it. Hey, also my friend has got bad knees. And I told her yesterday, I just nearly made her promise that she would get some turmeric because Grandma Lois swears by it. She says it's what has really, really helped her knees. Now, I'm no doctor. Well, I am kind of, but I don't actually have a degree. But I do recommend things like putting Vicks Salve on your feet at night if you're coughing. That really helps. But I'm going to try to get her on that turmeric because she's trying to act like she's old, and we ain't got time for that. And you know, in about 2 weeks, my girl and me are going to UK for I guess it's an orientation, and she will be signing up for her classes for this fall. We've got to be there at 7 o'clock my time. It takes 2 hours to get up there. Now, you talk about putting a kink in my style. I don't know what I'll do. Because poor little Max, he knows that he has to eat at 6. And I'll be on the road. My husband, what's he going to do? I'll have to make the coffee before I leave and lay him out a honey bun or something to eat. Well, that's going to be a hard trip. But we're excited. And I was looking this morning at the list of scholarships she has applied for. You would not believe this last school year, every Sunday afternoon, starting in like October, I think it was about October we started working on scholarships. I bet she has applied for at least 25 scholarships. She got a $500 one from one of our local banks, and she got a $1,000 one from something through FFA. And then she got like a $2,500 one from the college through something up there. I mean, you would not believe the hours this child has written papers and filled out forms. And she's a good writer. She's done some really good papers on, you know, every place requires you to write a paper. And she's really good at it. But I guess a lot of kids are good at it. I didn't think maybe there would be that many. But so far, I mean, I still think there's a chance she could get some more, but, you know, it's getting a little late in the day. But we'll just take what we can get, and then my husband and me are going to have to shell out the do-re-mi for this kid to go to college because we want her to go to college, and she wants to go. So, hey, I'm going to get off of here. I'm going to go home. I'm going to take me a nap. I got to figure out something for that man to eat. Now, see, I could just eat some ice cream. Or I could eat some Doritos with cottage cheese. But he won't do that. I don't know what I'm going to do with him. But I hope you have a great day. And I don't know when I'll be back, probably sooner than later. So we'll talk soon, okay? See ya.